Now time for Senior Rotax Heat number 3, Groups A versus C. And here is your starting grid. Iska Kaskinen will start on pole position. He'll be joined by the UK's Lachlan Robinson on the front row. It's Belgium and the Netherlands with Vic Stevens and Tommy van der Stroys on row 2. Laurent Legault and Austin Lee on row 3. Mark Kimber and Jaden Teen, row 4. Kai Hunter and Lewis Gilbert complete the top 10. Row 6 is Camille McFarlane, Tobias Clausen. On row 7, it's Monty Gomassen and Paul Grisel. Tom Langlois and Janis Diak round out row 8. Row 9 is Daniel Halsworth and Loris Koisman. Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort and Baptiste Schneider complete the top 20. With Titouan Lescali, William Christensen, Alexander Savinkov, Scott Westhoven's Tom Verhoel and Sverre Ubben rounding out the 26-strong grid. So far, we've had 2 different winners. It was Mark Kimber in heat number 1 and Kai Rillertz in heat 2. So this is the halfway points of the heat stages here at Circuit du Val d'Argenton for the senior Rotax drivers, totaling 52 altogether. And after today's 6 heats, the top 30 will automatically go through to the pre-final and the final tomorrow. The remaining 22 drivers will battle over the final 6 positions in the second chance heat tomorrow morning, which will be the first of tomorrow's action at 10:40 local time here in Western France. So the red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. 10 minutes on the timer, plus an additional lap. The field slowly makes its way through Dunlop Corner at the top right-hand part of the circuit. The drivers now will head into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? First full start of the weekend, folks. They've got to go round and do it all over again. So the drivers now going into a single file train, heading through into the Piff Path at turns 9 and 10. And through Dunlop, once more they go. It's going to be down to Miska Kaskinen and Lachlan Robinson on the front row of the grid to control the pace, and they are neatly in formation this time around. The revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights are out this time, second time around. And Lachlan Robinson goes side pod to side pod with Miska Kaskinen, heading into Clubhouse for the 326 from KR Sport. And one runs over the back bumper of somebody else, and someone's off the circuit. Coming out of Clubhouse, that was one of the RS competition carts. And Lachlan Robinson finds himself losing another couple of positions on the run out of turn number 4. So through they go into turn number 8. And Laurent Legault from KR Sport, the Canadian, now up into P3. Dive bomb attempt going into turn 8 that was successful. That was a little bit further back towards just outside of the top 15. There is an absolute skirmish just outside of the top 12 as the top 8 rounded out by Tommy van der Stroys, rounded out by just under 1.9 seconds. But Miska Kaskinen is leading. Second is Vic Stevens. Third it's Lauren Legore. Mark Kimber in fourth. Kai Hunter, Austin Lee, Lachlan Robinson, Tommy van der Sloys, Daniel Halsworth, and Camille McFarlane round out the top 10. Halsworth started all the way down in 17th position on the outside of the 9th row. And now Kimber goes for the lunge up the inside of Lauren Legore. Through into turn 7. The 302 from Strawberry Racing makes the move stick and gets through for that third place. Up towards Dunlop corner once again. We're only just over 1 minute and 40 into this race. And everyone is still running. Top 9 covered by 2.1 seconds. That's a gain of 8 positions for Daniel Halsworth in the 396 from KR Sport. The driver's jockeying for position, a move up the inside. That was on the 393 of Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort. And that might have been, that will be Jaden Teen in the number 380 that made the move stick. Miska Kaskinen, in the meantime, is starting to pull away. Overtakes are now happening. That was Kai Hunter up the inside of Lauren Legore. And now trying to go through is the 379 of Austin Lee, who's got Tommy van der Sloys and Lachlan Robinson. And I think that's also Daniel Halsworth just behind. Yes, it is. The Austrian is there in the mix at the sharp end of the field. Lachlan Robinson right on the back bumper of Tommy van der Sloys as Mark Kimber pulls the trigger. Past Vic Stevens goes the 302 for second place. On the run down through the turn 1 kink right-hander and into Clubhouse. And Kimber, last time around, actually set the fastest lap of the race, 52.449 seconds. But Kaskinen has been in the thick of things for at least the last season and a half here at the Euro Trophy. And this weekend showed that he's not just here to make up the numbers. His lead over Vic Stevens last time around was just under 0.6 of a second. It might be a little bit closer than that because Mark Kimber is closing on him. It's 0.4. And another fastest lap by the 302 from Strawberry Racing. 52.256. Mark Kimber has opened up the taps on the Tony Kart chassis underneath him and is gunning for the race lead. And he's within a couple of kart lengths now. Oh, slight mistake from Miska Kaskinen. Coming out of turn number 6, and here's the up and under. And Kimber, is he going to get through? He will do. He got the inside line very nicely. Went side pod to side pod with the 385 from Finland and got the job done. And up the inside of that, Vic Stevens. Is that Vic Stevens? We've had a yellow flag. We've had a little bit of a drama for one of the karts. Looks to be the 378 of William Christensen. Stevens is through. Now Hunter through on Kaskinen. Next up is Lauren Legore. And Legore looking through on the inside and a bump over the curves through out of Clubhouse is Tommy van der Sloys. Austin Lee is now behind the 311. Legore looking up the inside of the 385 from Finland, who then loses all the momentum he carried through into turn number 4. Van der Sloys goes defensive on Austin Lee. Lachlan Robinson is closing in, so is Daniel Halsworth. And there is Camille McFarlane. In the 328, it's getting very, very close indeed. And then you've got the cavalry behind. The likes of Lewis Gilbert, the likes of Jaden Thien, Tom Lenoir, Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort, and Alexander Savinkov. Savinkov started in 23rd and is in the top 15. Kimber has been rocketing away into the distance. The gap between him and Vic Stevens now stretches to 0.92 of a second. Lachlan Robinson, in the meantime, has got past Austin Lee. He's got Daniel Halsworth not that far behind. But Halsworth is having to defend against Camille McFarlane, who goes up the inside of the Austrian in the 396. And Camille McFarlane gets through. That was a neat move going through into turn number 5. But the train behind Vic Stevens is happening all over again like it did earlier on this weekend. Earlier on today, so Vic Stevens is the proverbial cork in the bottle And what's more, the 369 from Dams Racing, representing Belgium, is in second. Behind him is Kai Hunter. Then follow that with Miska Kaskinen, Lauren Legault, Tommy van der Stroys, Lachlan Robinson. And Robinson is through on van der Stroys. The 326 has gotten up into what is now 6th position. Kimber's lead now stretches to over 1.1 seconds with just under 3.5 minutes to go. Still an opportunity for some drivers to make their moves up the order. And Van der Stroys is still ahead of Lachlan Robinson. Robinson's dropped off the back of the 311 from Bouvin Power. Sverre Ubben, in the meantime, has made up some positions and is battling away with the likes of Baptiste Schneider, Paul Grisel and Titouan Lescali. But Kimber is just powering away into the distance. He's just put in another fastest lap of the race in clean air. More to the fact, 52.235 seconds. We have got a yellow flag. There is someone off into the gravel at Clubhouse at turn 2. And the driver is actually pulling the cart out of the gravel unassisted. In the meantime, Lewis Gilbert is now up close and personal with Daniel Hasworth. And I think that might have been Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort that was off the circuit. And that was the case. The timing has just reflected that. He was running in 14th position. So the battle behind Mark Kimber continues onward. Vic Stevens has got a lead of about 0.3 of a second ahead of Kai Hunter. Miska Kaskinen, who finished 8th in his first heat earlier on today, running in a genuine P4. As Lachlan Robinson fires up the inside through turn 7 on Tommy van der Stroys and gets through. Just behind them is Austin Lee in the 379. So Robinson now up into P6. So coming down to 3 laps to go, including this one. Mark Kimber now has a lead of 1.8 seconds. And Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort has done the right thing and has pulled the cart into pit lane. And that is the 393's race done. He'll have one more opportunity a little bit later on. But Mark Kimber, 2 laps ago, set the fastest lap of anybody, 52.157. So 2 more laps to go after this one. Well, 2 more laps to go, including this one. And Vic Stevens is not out of harm's way. Kai Hunter and Miska Kaskinen starting to work together, trying to reel in the 369 from Dams Racing. But Kaskinen was a little bit quicker coming out of Clubhouse in comparison with Hunter. Might get the run going down into towards turns 5 and 6. A couple of cart lengths behind. The Finns a little bit later on the braking. Rotates the cart in. The timer has expired. Mark Kimber's lead is nearly 2.2 seconds. Absolutely flown away into probably the nearest region here in France. But across the line, last lap board is out this time. Kimber leads, but what's the advantage? Nearly 2.5 seconds. Kai Hunter still in third. Miska Kaskinen rounds out the top 4 positions. Yanis Stiak's got past Jaden Teen in the meantime for 12th place. Titouan Lescali has just got past Baptiste Schneider. That's for 18th on the road. Kimber making his way towards the final part of this circuit here at Circuit du Val d'Argenton in Western France. He picked up the opening heat victory of the day here in Western France, and he's going to do it again out of the final corner. Kimber makes it 2 for 2 with a commanding victory. Second position, it is Vic Stevens, 2.7 seconds behind. Kai Hunter and Miska Kaskinen and Laurent Legault round out the top 5. Lachlan Robinson, who started on the outside of the front row, finishes in 6th ahead of Tommy van der Stoys, who managed to start from 4th on the grid, finishing 7th. Austin Lee takes 8th ahead of Camille McFarlane. And then we've got Lewis Gilbert, the number 329 from Dollery in Ayrshire in Scotland, rounding out the top 10. Daniel Halsworth in 11th. Janis Diak, Jaden Teen, Montico Masson and Tom Longnois round out the top 15. Alexander Savinkov, Sverre Ubben, Tito Lescali, Baptiste Schneider and Scott Westhovens round out the top 20. Tom Voil takes 21st out of Paul Grisel. Tobias Clausen in 23rd, with William Christensen and Loris Koisman being the last of the classified finishers. And after a big off at turn 2 at Clubhouse, Brandon Klein-Nagelvort would retire into the pits on lap number 9.